Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Platinum versus AEW Dark Elevation. This is episode 20. Folks, we've made it. We've covered them all. This took place on July 26th, 2021. Like I said, a 2-hour show, 13 matches. A lot of what we would categorize as competitive matches. So let's just jump into it. We've got Tony Schiavone, Paul White, and Eddie Kingston is there commentating as well. Not really a shock there, right? Eddie Kingston is a good talker, and I think AEW Dark Elevation is a great place to let him kind of stretch his legs and spread his wings and all other kind of metaphors which imply taking on another job. So Jungle Boy against Mark Quinn. We'll call this competitive. We do it on a 3-check scale. How does it work? They get 1 check mark if both of them end up looking good, and they both really did. They had a kind of a chemistry here. I wonder if they wrestled each other on the independents because they actually looked pretty good here. Quinn at times can look a little haphazard, but no, this looked good. At one point, Private Party hit Gin and Juice on Jungle Boy, but he was able to kick out of that and then grab that snare trap. Did Jungle Boy look good in victory? Absolutely. Boy, kicking out of their tag team finisher before winning with his finisher. What can you say? And was anything advanced for future consideration? And the answer is absolutely yes. This thing with the Hartley family office and the Jurassic Express will seem like it will continue. So 3 check marks. Yuka Sakazaki versus Amber Nova. I got to see Amber Nova on Saturday for Division Pro. She's their women's division champion and looked good there and looked good here. I will call this an enhancement match, in which case there's a person who you expect to win in definitive fashion. Yes, absolutely. Wins with an airplane spin. A little unexpected there. The 2nd check mark if Yuka looks good in the process, most certainly does. And a 3rd check mark if Amber Nova looks good in defeat or gets a large amount of offense, and the answer is both of those things. Looks really good and gets a large amount of offense, so 3 check marks there. Thunder Rosa against Maya Madrid. Thunder Rosa looking every bit the star and very, very happy to be signed by AEW, of course. This is not a competitive matchup necessarily. In fact, proved by this win equaled 16 straight wins for Thunder Rosa. Does she win in definitive fashion? Absolutely. We're sticking with the Peruvian necktie, I see, and I think that's a good call. 2nd check mark of Thunder Rosa looks good, and a 3rd check mark because, in my opinion, Madrid looked very good in defeat. We move on to the next match, Luchasaurus against Jorajal with the Hardy Family Office, and we see more Hardy Family Office stuff against the Jurassic Express. The HFO, Hardy Family Office, get involved quite a bit. Angelico takes a choke slam from Luchasaurus, for example. This isn't much of a competitive match. Luchasaurus wins, that's a check mark, looks dominant in it, that's a 2nd check mark. And even though he did not get a disproportionately large amount of offense, Jorah did the job here, and they're telling a story with him in the Hardy Family Office, so that's a 3rd check mark. Scorpio Sky against Fuego del Sol. Fuego most definitely is being given more and more offense since being signed. Nonetheless, Scorpio Sky wins. That's a check mark. Wins definitively. That's a 2nd check mark. But Fuego del Sol makes it competitive and gets his spots in, and people cheer for him. He's obviously over as an enhancement talent. That is the 3rd check mark. Marco Stunt against Angelico, as apparently Jurassic Express against Hardy Family Office continues. I'm going to call this a competitive matchup. Again, does Marco and Angelico both look good? Absolutely. Does Angelico look good in his victory? Dominant? Yes. He puts Marco in a torture rack, which I think is really, really cool. And he even drops to a knee to do it. And it looked absolutely brutal. Does Marco's stunt, is anything advanced? Yes. This was Hardy Family Office picking up a win out of the 2 losses against all of Jurassic Express. So it makes sense. And in fact, we get shenanigans, a little bit of shenanigans afterwards as Angelico gets some extra shots in on Marco. We get a recap of the Bunny Chris Statlander feud. Alex Marvez is back there with the Bunny. Marvez notes it's tough times for the Hardy Family Office. Asks Bunny about her match tonight. Bunny gets very confrontational with Alex Marvez and says wants to rip somebody's face off. So it goes. Chris Statlander and Tay Conti against the Bunny and Maddie Renkowski. I'll call this competitive, though anytime you see Maddie Renkowski in tag matches like this, usually she's the one there to take the fall. We'll see if that's the case here. Good match right here. At the end of it, Conti hits that high kick. Statlander hits the Big Bang Theory. They get the win. Very definitive win. I'll still call this competitive. Do both sides look good? They do. Does the winning team look really, really good? Yeah, they really found a good way to give Tay Conti and Chris Statlander sort of equal time and looking good. And is something advanced? Yes. Clearly, part of this is going to be, the Bunny continuing her thing with Chris Statlander. So 3 check marks. Eddie Kingston is no longer on commentary, though that was a nice long run. Jake Hager coming in to replace him. I find that interesting. Wardlow against Bear Bronson. This is definitely a match meant to put Wardlow over, so we'll call this an enhancement match. Though Bronson gets to get a little more offense than a lot of people have against Wardlow lately, nonetheless, Wardlow does his corner knee KO, and that's that. So 3 check marks. Bear Bronson does get some offense, but at the end of the day, this is about Wardlow looking dominant. He most certainly does. And Wardlow and Hager stare each other down. Alex Marvez is backstage with a fan who won an Elite GM contest. That's a game that I beta tested for sure. So that's pretty cool. So he gets to pick Lee Johnson's opponent, and the winner will receive a TNT title shot against Miro. The fan picks Luther as Johnson's opponent. Interesting. Aubrey Edwards comes in and awards the fan a custom belt. Oh, that's really cool. It's really, really cool. Eddie Kingston's back on commentary, so that was just a thing so Hager and Wardlow can continue their stuff, which I like. I like that they do little things like that. Luther against Lee Johnson. We'll call this competitive, even though it seems like a foregone conclusion that Lee Johnson is going to win. Sure enough, he does, and wins with a cool-looking spinning splash. Both guys definitely look good here. We'll give it a check mark. Lee Johnson looks very definitive, like he's ready for Miro. He gets a second check mark. And is anything advanced? Yes, this idea that it was a number 1 contenders match, or who gets a title shot at TNT. That's certainly an important angle kind of thing. So we'll give this 3 check marks. And it looks like we were going to have a good shot at a 3 check mark night. Miro's music plays afterwards, and he comes out with a mic. He says, and again, he's getting these great lines. This sort of like, I'm God's chosen champion is ridiculous, but it's really good. It seems to give Miro a really good focus on the mic. Your last opponent was picked by fans. Your next opponent was picked by God. And they're going to wrestle each other on Homecoming on August 4th. So not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday afterwards. Eddie Kingston is not on commentary because his match is next. Eddie Kingston against Serpentico. I would definitely call this an enhancement match, though he does give Serpentico quite a bit, as Eddie Kingston tends to do with everybody. Very giving dude. He wins with that spinning back fist, definitive fashion, 3 check marks, and we're going on. We get a segment with Jade Cargill and Smart Mark Sterling. They're heading to the ring. He does a yee-haw because they're in Texas. Sterling makes fun of Texas barbecue. He prefers vegan barbecue. I'm just saying maybe you'll like it. Actually makes me laugh. So he says this is for the people at home in smart states like New York. So he's really going for the I'm in Texas cheap heat. He's looking for the next great partner for the Jade brand. Throws that out there. gets that I'm that bitch line in there, Jade in the cowboy hat and the vest. It's on and on. They're really pushing this gimmick, and as well they should. Lucha Brothers, we haven't seen them team up in quite a while against Dark Orders 5 and 10. We'll call this a competitive match. Both sides look really, really good here. Really, really good. This is my favorite match for sure. So at the end of the day, you know, they hit the Fear Factor Stomp combo for the win, but boy. And then Phoenix hits a tope on 10 to take him out of the picture as well. Really good match. That's check mark for both sides looking good. Another one for the Lucha Brothers looking really, really good. In top form. And was anything advanced? Yeah, it's great to see the Lucha Brothers back teaming up and seeing them have a great match. And we're also establishing this thing of the Dark Order can hang with the top guys. So I'm going to give that a third check mark. The Gun Club, in this case, Billy and Colton, and Brock Anderson of the Nightmare Factory against Chandler Hopkins, Cameron Cole, or Nightmare Family, excuse me, against Chandler Hopkins, Cameron Cole, and Izzy James. Again, any 6-person tag where Billy is involved, he's so good at directing traffic and making sure everything makes sense in there. Colton's getting more confidence, and Brock is getting his ring time that he needs. This is definitely an enhancement match, and it doesn't even last all that long, which surprises me a little bit. I thought they'd give him more, but then again, you had a lot of guys in there with little experience, so I get that too. Colton hits the Colt 45 to get the win here. So 3 check marks, and we're moving on. Chuck Taylor against Pac. We'll definitely call this one competitive. Chuck is there with Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta. Pac is there with the Lucha Brothers and Alex Abrahantes. Good match, hard-hitting match. Chuck really brought his work boots. There was a time where I wasn't the biggest Chuck Taylor fan, but I gotta say, in the last year and a half, I really have liked the things that he's done, and I like him in this match again. He avoids at one point the Black Arrow, but he gets caught with it at the end, and that's a nice little story that they managed to tell in a match that wasn't all that long but had a lot of action. Really, really good stuff. Pac gets the win, 3 check marks. Death Triangle and Best Friends stare each other down. That's why I said something feels like it was maybe advanced here. And then Andre Idilio. Andrade comes out with Chavo Guerrero. He signals that he wants to fight, but Chavo tells him to relax. So we advanced quite a bit. A very good episode of AEW Dark Elevation for sure. This is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling.